Everyone, welcome to the Emma Phillips channel. If you're new to this channel, kindly press the subscribe button. In the book of Romans chapter 12, Paul tells us about gives us advice about how to live as good Christians. He tells us, do not conform to the standards of this world. Instead, allow God to transform you. What he means is that by conforming to the standards of the world, he means that trying to fit in with the lifestyles of the world. Instead, you should allow God to transform you so that you may be able to know the will of God. And the transformation is done by the Holy Spirit and reading the Bible every day. That way, when you do this and you allow the Holy Spirit into your life, you will be transformed by God, and it will also transform your thinking, the way you think, the way you do things. When you allow God to transform you, you will be able to discern the will of God and find out what is God's plan and direction for you. Paul also advises, do not think too highly of yourself than you really are. Look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself an honest assessment. Do not also put yourself down either, because you are created in the image of God. If God has given you skills or gifts, it is so that you can serve others. Whatever gift it is, use it to serve others. These gifts may be prophecy, teaching others about the word. For those Christians who are wealthy, using your money to help the needy. It may also be engaging in missionary work, or even posting and encouraging religious memes on your social media accounts. Put whatever gift God has given you into use. Do not just be a spectator in church. Help in the ministry of the church. Do not be proud. You should be willing to associate with people of a low position. Do not just feed the homeless people, but also mingle with them and encourage them to join the church community so that they can also contribute whatever gifts that they have been given by God. Do not pay evil with evil. Live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, but leave room for God's punishment. You can never defeat evil by returning fire. If somebody wrongs you, then you take revenge. You have allowed the devil to win. In this case, I have a case in mind of the story of David and King Saul. King Saul was very threatened by David's rising popularity, and he was afraid that one day Saul would take over from him as king. One day David would take over from him as king. So what he did, he hounded David with an aim of killing him. He had already forced David to flee from the palace, his palace. So David was hiding in the forests, and he managed to find him in the cave where he was. But God put Saul and his men to sleep, and he gave David an opportunity to come and have power over King Saul and do with him whatever he wanted to do. Now, David had run away from home and left his family because of King Saul, fleeing all those years. He could have easily killed King Saul because he was put in a deep sleep by God, and even his men, so they couldn't wake up to defend themselves. But David told one of his men who wanted to kill King Saul to spare him because he was the anointed king chosen by God. This is a good example of how we should not pay evil by evil. David would have easily killed him, but he decided to let God avenge him. And eventually, King Saul died in a war where he was fighting, and David became king. That is the word for today, Romans chapter 12, and I hope you keep this in mind. Those Christians who are considering living a good Christian life. Bye.